Anybody else ever go to start the Tacoma and hit the drive selector, the two-wheel, four-wheel drive? I find myself doing that all the time. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to RobMotive. So do you ever do that? Go to push start, assuming you have it now. It's new for me in this Tacoma anyway. And I always seem to want to hit that drive button, the four-wheel drive selector. Anyway, I am torn when it comes to the 2024 Toyota Tacoma. I made a video a little while back. I was trying to narrow down my choices because I am going to get one. I like the looks of the new truck. I'm not sure about the powertrain, and unfortunately, I probably won't get to drive one until I actually commit to one, because I'm sure when they come out, you're going to either take what's in allocation or you're going to have to order one, and then it's pretty much yours. You can still get out of the deal. I mean, if you get it in writing that you can refuse the truck and get your deposit back. But nonetheless, I'll be so excited once it arrives, or I have something that I can drive home, that I probably won't do that no matter what. And every time you go drive a new vehicle, it always feels great when you're doing your test drive, right? Unless it's a real dog. I've had vehicles like that before that turned out to be real dogs. An older Honda Civic SI, hated that car, had it for 2 months, traded it off. So I have been down that road. But nonetheless, I am going to get one. I'm torn in a couple areas. One is whether I should wait or not. The hopped up version, the one that's going to be the hybrid with the electric motor and the extra torque and extra horsepower, is not going to be available until probably late next year, late 2024. So that means I would have to wait. I don't think I can do that for a couple reasons. One, I'm impatient. And two, I want it for the channel, for you guys, for me. I'm torn. The other thing is the model. Now, before I get into that, let's go back to the hybrid conversation, I guess. It doesn't really bother me that it's a hybrid, that it's going to have the electric motor. I think there's going to be great benefit for someone like me who wants acceleration and torque. So I'm not really having any issue with that. And I think another option for me might be to go ahead and get the non-hybrid version as soon as they come out, when I can get one, and then have that one for a while, and then next year, I'm assuming in 2024, trade it off, or maybe even into 2025, but trade it off for the hybrid version. So that's what I'm thinking there. Now, the other spot that I'm torn in is the model. I did a video, like I mentioned, where I talked about getting either the Pro, which is really way overkill and not something that I need. I mean, what mods and things can you do to it? I'm sure, there are some things, but in the end, it's basically a finished truck, and that doesn't bode well for a YouTuber, right? Or at least one like me that likes to do mods and things. And I genuinely like to do that stuff. It's not that I just do it because this is my job. It's because I like to do it. Then there's the Sport. I've always been a fan of the hood scoop, even though they're non-functional. I think they make the truck sportier. The only thing I really don't like about them is they kind of obstruct your view a little bit on the hood. Now, the 2024 Tacoma seems to have that a little bit more integrated, and it seems to sit a little bit lower on the hood. So I don't think that would even be a problem. Nonetheless, I like them anyway. Then there is the TRD Off-Road. I have a TRD Off-Road now, and honestly, the only way that I probably, maybe, would get a TRD Off-Road is if I decide to keep this one to kind of compare the two, if you will, which I've talked about doing. And honestly, that was my plan in the beginning. I thought, I'll hold on to this one for a while, compare and contrast the two, and then get rid of whichever one I didn't want to keep, which most likely would be this one, even though it is the 6-cylinder, naturally aspirated. So there's a little bit of a conundrum there for me as well. Although I do think it would be really fun to kind of go back and forth between the two. just to see what Toyota has really done. And I know there's some interest in that, and I'm sure there'll be some folks out there who are trying to decide as well. Should they go with the late model at that point, the 3rd gen, or should they go with the new, the 2024? I don't know. So I'm trying to look at all three, the Pro, the TRD Off-Road, and the TRD Sport, and kind of see, you know, and I'll probably go through this right now with you guys, but what suits my needs? Well, obviously not the TRD Pro. So if we go by that alone for a few more reasons, that's out. Plus, I'm not going to pay 60 grand for a truck either. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to go buy, I don't know, a used Raptor or something. I wouldn't do that. But anyway, I'm not going to spend that kind of money, and I'm sure there's going to be a premium on top of them too. I'm not going to do that either. So that knocks the Pro out. That leaves the Sport and the TRD Off-Road. I've had, I believe, just one Sport, I think, in all the Tacomas that I've had, and that was the Barcelona Red. Had, I believe it was a 2018, like the truck. The only issue that I saw between the Sport and the Off-Road comes down to ride quality. The Sport seemed to be rougher to me. Now, that could have been because of the tire setup that I had. You know, I went with a firmer tire. It was a Nitto Ridge Grappler, and definitely a harder compound than some of the others that I've had, like the Falcon Wild Peaks, which is what I'm running right now. I love the Falcon Wild Peaks, by the way. Good grip, great in the rain, and it gives you a pretty soft ride. Nice, softer tread wall, if you will, or sidewall. They just seem to absorb the bumps a little bit more. But this isn't really a tire video, although maybe I could take care of that different ride with the Falcon Wild Peaks, because you know I'm going to have to change the wheels and tires, right, at some point. So we've got the Sport, we've got the TRD Off-Road. I love the look of the Sport. I love that hood scoop. I think it is a more aggressive, sportier looking truck. So where does that leave me? Well, here's the decision, and here's what I'll decide when it comes time to actually pony up the money. If I decide to compare the two, then I would get the TRD Off-Road, because that's what I'm sitting in right now. However, if I don't do that and I go ahead and trade or sell off this truck, I'm going to get the Sport. So which way am I leaning? Honestly, I'm leaning towards the Sport. That would mean that this truck will go, even though, and I know I had said in other videos that I would keep this truck, but I don't really need two trucks, and I'm not sure, you know, how much value I would get. I know there's some good content in comparing the two, but, you know, after you talk about it a couple of times, what are you going to do? Just keep talking about it? Probably not. So that's probably not a real significant reason. I mean, I can give my impressions of the new truck without actually having to have two, or my name on two titles. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to be the Sport. As I continue talking, I think I've decided it's going to be the TRD Sport. Unless something else changes or something else dawns on me, that's what I'm going to get. I want the hood scoop. I love the looks of that truck, especially in that blue that they're showing it in. May not be the color that I get. One other thing I want to mention is I am going to go with some kind of in-your-face bright color. I've decided that I really do like that more. Nothing wrong with the other ones that I've had, but between the Barcelona Red, the Voodoo Blue, and now the Electric Lime, I'm sold. It has to be an aggressive color. I just like them better. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know if you're in the market, you're going to get the new 2024. What version are you going to get? I'd be curious to know, and why. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Mod Driven, all about the Honda Civic, and RobMotive JT, all about the Jeep Gladiator. Check them out, and if you're interested, why not subscribe? And while you're at it, smash the subscribe button here too. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.